tonight? Aye, those endless reminders that Edge is coming back tonight to Monday Night Raw. It was a bit too much, wasn't it? But all of those reminders did not detract from what was yet again a fun episode of Raw, in my opinion. Yes, I guess you could say there was one too many DQ finishes and a little bit too much silly bollocks in the matches that we saw, and this show did of course include a gargantuan clash of the Titans. Football between Mojo Rawley and bloody Nowhere Jose, with the main roster, I think, debut of Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss! But aye, it was a fun show. Intro. WTF! First of all, it's very good to hear from Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton once again, isn't it? I felt really bad for those two when they were shafted from commentary last year in the big old shake-up, because that trifecta they had with Corey Graves as well on SmackDown, it worked well, didn't it? They bounced off each other very well. But aye, just in case you missed it at the Rumble on Sunday, I'll say it again. Bam! And the Vic is gone. I'm Barry Scott. Anyway, Tom kicked off the night doing what he does best, and had his face fornicating the poo out of a line on commentary when he claimed we're on the road to WrestleMania. And when Tom said that, I was left asking what kind of a pirate ship can go on Tarmac's Road. If you ask me where we're at currently on our way to WrestleMania with the pirate ships and whatnot, we are on the body of water to WrestleMania. Proper catchy, that, innit? Drew McIntyre is going to WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre, who was obviously famed for his sterling work alongside Formula One great Jackie Stewart, because Scotland and tyres. And then we have Big Daddy Drew claiming I'm holding a Claymore party. And I bet if you log on to Google right now, you'll find some horrible rinky-dink websites saying, oh, WWE shoots on AEW. And I don't know about you, but I for one hope that Big Daddy Drew McIntyre brings out his own song, just like the Young Bucks have for their Super Kick parties. And then Drew McIntyre goes on to sing that song just before his big WWE Championship match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and the Beast dances along with it, because that's what we all want to see. I don't believe the words that just came out my mouth. I was watching this match here and I had one question in my mind. What did the best tag team in the world have to prove in this nonsensical handicap match against Drew McIntyre? What could Gallows and Anderson have gained from beating Drew McIntyre one man when they are two baldy men? And of course, by losing that match like they did, they just proved something I think we already knew, that the best tag team in the world are not the best tag team in the world. I mean, I guess it was a fun handicap match, because once again, Drew McIntyre, it's clear he's been allowed to be himself. He was having all the banter, he was having a great time. He looked like a god. Oh, I fancy him. But it didn't make much sense. And next up we have Jerry the King Lawler saying that Rey Mysterio's home state is San Antonio, Texas. How does he speak like that? It's not, man. San Diego, California, but the California bit's the state, Jerry, you numpty. No tunnel, no party. That site there is utterly scandalous. That ain't it, Chief. That's not mood. And other things that kids say these days. For me, bringing back MVP to a show where you know MVP's coming back and you don't have his inflatable tunnel with the smoke in that he bursts out of when it says, I'm coming, is on the same level as bringing Edge back at last year's SummerSlam when you know he's not going to be there, and not having Edge's pyro when you've got the pyro gun set up anyway. Bring back the inflatable tunnel, because quite frankly, WWE, it's the best thing about MVP, which was proven last night. Bloody hell. But on a more serious note, imagine saying just before MVP left WWE all the way back in 2010, we'd be watching that match there on a Raw in 2020. And while we're here talking about MVP, I'm going to say something now I wanted to say during the Royal Rumble WTF Moments, but I forgot to read it out loud, even though it was on me sheet. MVP is the first ever IWGP Intercontinental Champion. It's a WTF moment, isn't it? So we got to the end of the MVP versus Rollins Mysterious match, and I had one thought in my mind. I'm not sure MVP will ever be invited back to wrestle a singles match live on WWE TV again. And if you're sat at home having not seen last night's Raw thinking, Ross, it can't have been that bad, I'm just going to say to you now, 2008 was 12 years ago. 12 long years ago. Anyway, the finish to this match, which never really got out of first gear because of MVP. Am I being too harsh here? I don't think so. Go and watch the thing, and I think you'll have the same opinion, maybe. Anyway, the finish to that match saw Ronald Mysterio's go for a 619. MVP was in the right spot, but just as Ronald was halfway through spinning the ropes, MVP got up and turned around, then stopped before he got fully out the way, and Ronald did the 619 to MVP's back. That just didn't look like it was supposed to happen like that, but it did, and it was weird. But at least Tom Phillips took some human fecal matter. He plucked it right out the rectum of MVP, and he made some human salad. That's not how the saying goes, but he said that in doing this move here, Ronald Mysterio did a 6-1 spine. Top draw. And then when that picture there was on the screen, we had Jerry the King Lawler saying, we may not have to wait as long as we did with Drew McIntyre, because the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble is going to announce who she will face at WrestleMania. And of course, a quick reminder that Drew McIntyre came out first on last night's Raw and quite literally said, I'm not going to play silly bollocks like most of these people do. I'm challenging Brock Lesnar. He did it straight away, Jerry. What are you talking about?
Nice.
And then we had a huge cope for Monday Night Raw. They're bringing in all the big names alongside Riddick Moss these days, as they had movie director Kenneth Johnson wrestling in the ring. I love all of Kenneth Johnson's science fiction films, I do. And doesn't he look great for a man of 77 years of age? All the best to you, Ken. Could you imagine, right? Now sit yourselves down and listen to this. WWE book Aleister Black like an absolute mug for the longest time on the main roster. Then on this week's Raw, they have Aleister Black come out, sit down in the ring and go, oh, that bollocks where I sat in a room like a moody teenager waiting for somebody come to me to pick a fight with me. That's my fault. I'm going to change. I'm going to bring the fight to other people now. Could you imagine if they did that? Well, they did do that. Talk about passing the buck or what? What? Whoa.
Drew, enjoy it while it lasts, because they will stab you in the back.
Seth Rollins said about Drew McIntyre enjoying the adulation of the WWE Universe after winning his Royal Rumble match. Now, I've met Drew McIntyre a few times, and let me tell you, he's a lovely, measured, grown-up adult man. So Seth Rollins, I would like to put high stakes on that statement from you. I would like to bet 50 whole pence, that's 50, not 15. 50 pence that Drew McIntyre can go an entire year of doing out of kayfabe interviews with news sources around the world and not put his foot in it once like you did so many pissing times last year. I know what Seth there is, it's a worky statement, but you know, this new Seth Rollins is based in realism, isn't it? So that got me worked up, it did. You're a tool, Seth.
We defeated the unbeatable Viking
Raiders to become the Raw Tag Team Championships, Seth Rollins said, and as we all know, the bloody OC, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson, who lost in humiliating fashion to Drew McIntyre, one man by himself at the start of last night's Raw, they have beaten the Viking Raiders twice. So to quote our lovely, wholesome saviour, Shania Twain, Seth Rollins,
that don't impress me much.
Byron Saxton is a loose cannon and needs to be stopped before somebody gets hurt. So, of course, we have Jerry the King Lawler speaking about all the sacrifices Seth Rollins has made for the fans inside the ring, outside the ring, this, that, and the other. And Byron Saxton, he goes poofed. Jerry Lawler. Sacrifices? Stop buying into that bollocks. And we all know, don't we? We've seen so many shoot interviews talking about the sacrifices the men and women on the main roster in WWE have to make each and every year, working 250, 350, 550 plus dates every single year, missing birthdays and family events and whatnot. Just because Seth Rollins is now an arsehole, Byron Saxton, that doesn't make him exempt from all that sacrifice. The sacrifice is real. Byron Saxton is a loose cannon and needs to be stopped before somebody gets hurt. I'm being bloody serious now. Wherever Byron Saxton has been since he left SmackDown last year has made him a very bitter, angry man, and quite frankly, he's really, really scary now. Here's a direct quote from Byron Saxton, by the way. Remember, Byron Saxton, not Gordon Ramsay, right? He says, pardon my French, but Andrade is a certifiable a-hole. And after hearing that line from Byron Saxton there, it must be the case that Byron Saxton's return to main roster commentary lasted one night. You can't get away with swearing like that. Now, when I woke up this morning, I saw the news that Andrade has been suspended by WWE for 30 days before I saw Monday Night Raw. So, when I saw Andrade versus Humberto with the US title on the line, I thought, hey, he's been suspended, he's dropping the title for sure. So, quelle surprise, as the French would say, as we would see Andrade keep his title. It's a huge shock, and we've read all the reports, haven't we, online, that Vince McMahon has given up on Humberto and all that malarkey. But seriously though, how many attempts does Humberto need to take that US title off Andrade, and why does he keep getting them? If I entered the Women's Royal Rumble, I would have won, said Asuka. Are you challenging me? Replied Charlotte Flair. No, she wasn't Charlotte Flair. She was declaring something that would have happened if she was in the Women's Royal Rumble match, but somehow the magical booking pixies of the wrestling world descended on last night's Raw. We went to commercial. After Charlotte said that there, we came back from commercial, and Asuka versus Charlotte in a singles match was happening. Those bloody pixies. And then we have Tomato Phillips back again, doing what he does best, face fornicating the poo out of the line on WWE commentary. What the hell am I doing there? When he said that some might say that what Asuka is doing, going right after a top caliber superstar like Charlotte Flair, is quite smart. What the hell are you saying about Asuka, Tom? She is a top caliber superstar, just like Charlotte Flair, is she not? What you said there, Tom, belongs with the names of people who aren't as good as Asuka, which of course there are many, because Asuka is the best. Asuka number one. Up yours, Lana. Ow. Now, I know the old saying is to have a chip on't your shoulder, but after seeing Charlotte Flair's shoulders cracked that way, I reckon she's got a chip in it. Ridiculous scenes on Monday Night Raw as Riddick Moss turned up. I can't get over it. This is a man, of course, who has been signed to WWE since early 2014, according to Wikipedia, which of course means it's correct because Wikipedia is the best source of information on the internet. Anybody can edit it. Riddick Moss edited that himself. But Riddick Moss has been signed to WWE for around 6 years at this point, and I want you to tell me, without looking, one Riddick Moss match. I know you know he teamed with Tino Sabatelli in that, oh, we've got muscles and money, we do, tag team, but I want you to tell me a match where Riddick and Tino stood across from a team. Tell me one, because I can't. How the hell has Riddick Moss ended up on the main roster? And I know I'm speaking too soon, probably. Who knows? Riddick Moss might be the next big thing. God, he might be really good. We just don't know. We haven't seen him, but what we do know is that he isn't just Mojo Rawley's friend. He's more than that. He's special as Riddick Moss, because he is Mojo Rawley's, what is he? Offensive lineman. So basically, Riddick Moss got lost looking for the American football field then. Quite a gimmick, that, but it's building to the Gronk, isn't it? That's where we're going, is it? Maybe? Tom Phillips back again, this time with a sentence that read, "No way Jose is one of the main reasons the 24/7 championship has become so full." No Way Jose is one of the main reasons the 24/7 championship has become so much fun for the WWE Universe to watch. No Way Jose, who was greeted last night on Raw with the single quietest on record. I checked the record books. This is now in there. That is the single quietest reaction a WWE superstar has got ever. And I include Dwayne Gill in that. Not when he was Gilbert, Dwayne Gill. I've said it twice now, but I'm going to say it for a third time. Byron Saxton is a loose cannon and he needs to be stopped before somebody's hurt. It's getting desperate now. Erick Rowan appears. Byron Saxton immediately says, well, I think it's time for a bathroom break now. And I know what you're saying at home. You're saying, Ross, Byron Saxton saw big Erick Rowan and Erick Rowan's box and he quite literally pooed his pants. But you know, as we've heard from before, Byron Saxton was on a tear during last night's Raw. Nobody was safe. That's not what he was talking about. He buried Erick Rowan and he didn't give a toss about it. But then the worst thing happened to Byron Saxton since WWE aired that phone call between himself and Nia Jax, and the apple pie and the toes curling on that WWE We're Driving Down the Road show. Because Byron Saxton, the reckless, dangerous, scary, doesn't give a hoot what you think Byron Saxton was left hanging by Edge. And after what we saw last night, we all know that people struggle to come back from being left hanging. So what's this going to do to Byron Saxton's commentary? That man needs to be stopped before somebody gets killed. After this, Byron Saxton will cause World War III somehow. Just watch. I'll be in me bunker. And then we got to that final segment of the night and woo-hoo-woo-hoo-woo-hoo. Bloody hell, it was good, wasn't it? Randy Orton saying he's got a self-destructive personality, but don't worry about it, Edge. That was left in me younger years. And then we had Randy talking about being in the ring at the Royal Rumble with Edge, feeling the chemistry that only Randy and Edge have together. Nobody else has the kind of chemistry Randy has with Edge. And I know what you're thinking at home, everybody. Vicky Guerrero was going mental. And Christian might be it as well. Randy Orton early on in that promo sowing the seeds like my granny who was really good at sowing, which has nothing to do with seeds, but there we go. Then we had the masterful heel turn out of nowhere, as always, with Randy Orton. The audible screams in the audience when it looked like he was going to break Edge's neck once again. Wow! I felt like I was back in the 1980s watching Dusty Rhodes getting beaten up by the Fower Horsemen, as we would say in the northeast of England, perhaps. And then the pièce de résistance of the entire segment came, the ConCHAIRto of all the things to do to Edge, who invented that thing, kind of, with Christian as well. The bloody bastard that Randy Orton is. This just had me saying, whoa, doggy, get me on that unnamed body of water to WrestleMania. Not the road, the body of water. WWE, I've got me Speedos packed already. I'm ready for some water. But there was two things that left me puzzled during that segment. First of all, the referee just stood on the outside the ring like a big old wuss. Get in there, man. Stop him. And second of all, we've seen so many superstars tweet their support to Edge when he returned at the Royal Rumble. Where were all they? The returning hero getting murdered, potentially, and nobody came out to save him. What's the story there? But that is it for all the WTF moments from yet another fun episode of Monday Night Raw. I've been Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic. Check back this channel later tonight, where you'll see mine and Tom's Rumble reactions video. Big reek good. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can play us to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us